Hi, I'm Dave Skinner. Thanks for being with us today. Today in the studio we have with us Julie Aftab. Julie is a young lady from Pakistan with an incredible testimony and a fabulous ministry called Renew the Hope. She's here in the studio to give her testimony today about the wonderful, magnificent, powerful grace of God in her life. Julie, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Brother David, for having me and helping me to share my testimony with others who have faith like I do, but somehow we are sometimes tremble on the way to journey with God.
Yeah, sometimes the road gets bumpy. I know that. Okay. Your name is Julie. I call you Julie. Hi, Julie. We've known each other for a while. Why don't you use your real name?
My real name is Aftab.
Oh, it is your real. Oh, okay. All right. It's just because American people have difficulty saying Gulnaz instead of Julie.
Yeah, and plus it's a safety issue too.
Okay.
So I don't tell everybody my real name. And I changed my last name, so now everybody
knows. Okay, so it doesn't matter. All right.
No.
All right, so when you give your testimony, nobody's vulnerable, nobody gets endangered, we're fine.
That's
okay.
my first priority, that I do not get anybody into that position that can be held.
Okay, tell me something about Pakistan first. You're from Pakistan. How do you like it there?
Pakistan is a wonderful country as long as countrywide, but people are wonderful in some extent, but there is as you know, as an Islamic country.
Okay.
And
you are a Christian.
Yes, sir. I am a Christian.
Okay. What is it like for a Christian to live in an Islamic country?
Well, it's really difficult. As a Christian, you have so many restrictions, so many areas you can't do, and especially in the workplace or jobs, and there is schools and so many things that you can't do as a Christian. In the government are like many Christians are mistreated in Pakistan, and I don't know about other Islamic country, but I do know about Pakistan.
You know about Pakistan. Well, let me ask you this. What about being a woman?
Being a woman is really, really difficult.
So you've got a double whammy, a Christian and being a woman.
Yeah. And, you know, in the Islamic country, women are held the lowest, like, third-class citizen. They don't think that women have no right. Okay.
Why do women tolerate that? Because here, as you know, in the States, the women wouldn't accept it.
True, but you know, the generation after generation, the women have been put down. Women are mistreated. Women are really, you know, I mean, how they looked after their family. Like every generation, they have been beaten back. They will never let them come up. And
do you see an end to this? I mean, because we went through a time here where we had slavery and oppression of minority groups, but eventually we grew up. I mean, hopefully. You know.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen in Pakistan?
Well, that's my prayers are no time sooner, but sometimes somebody has to start. And some women do starting the action that they wanted to have freedom. They wanted to have, you know, live equal. But I'm like, there is a really weird cases that can happen, and I'm one of those who do not tolerate. And you
do not tolerate, or you are not tolerated. They don't accept you, or you don't accept them.
I don't accept their opinion.
Okay.
I think God created me a woman. That didn't mean that I was a less.
Right. Okay.
I am His image. He created me. My Creator never create stuff that is not good.
Well, that's true. True. Male and female, He created them. The Book of Genesis says so.
We are equal. So why do I am less than man? I can do anything, and I believe in. I mean, God gave me hands and feet, so like gender do not make a difference for me. I believe that it's just all in people's head, and
Okay, so you didn't get this idea just from the West. You think it's a biblical idea.
I believe in biblical.
Okay.
I believe that God.
It is.
God created, when God created Eve, He created her because He took her out of man, and she was equal to Him. Did you ever see buy like a car on a two wheel? They have to be left and right.
Yeah. Let me ask you something about this, because I know that a lot of the inequalities are very manifest in Sharia law. Does the Quran not accept the book of Genesis or the creation of Adam and Eve? I mean, couldn't the Islamic culture understand and value that women, as far as maybe I can lift more than you, but as far as our equality, our value before God, of course that's absolutely equal. Doesn't the Quran teach that?
Well,
or I guess I should say, even if it does, isn't the Sharia law based on the Quran?
Most part are not. Most part is a man-made opinion. See, Sharia law is really, some extent, it do eliminate women out of, like, it do treat that woman's lower grade citizen. Sharia law is basically women not equal to men's.
Right. I'm familiar with that. For instance, in a court case, in a jurisprudence case, there would be a woman's testimony is only worth half of what a man's. It takes two women to cancel out or to equal one man's testimony.
Yeah, and I don't see. I don't want to go into like really into Quran, but many extent Quran do not teach them, like Quran do teach them to Sharia law came from Quran, many extent I will say.
Right.
And that women are not treated equally throughout the Quran.
Okay. Well, in Pakistan, obviously, we have a cultural difference here. As far as the West being Judeo-Christian, biblical principles and foundations of the culture and the heritage that we, have received, and I could understand that might take some time if that thinking, that mentality, perspective, and worldview is not prevalent in Pakistan. I guess that if it's Islamic, well, you're a Christian, I guess by law you're permitted to live, but you're not granted the same amount of protection as
no, you're not,
as the faithful, being an infidel or
yes,
whatever.
I do not have equal right because I'm a Christian. I do not have, as I said, that many times schools and government jobs and we have a restriction that we have to follow, that we cannot have certain positions in the government or Christian.
Well, that makes it economically difficult for Christian families.
Yeah, and many schools don't let a Christian kid in for higher education. If they somehow they struggle up there and they get there, but they have no chance.
Are women educated in Pakistan? I know in some Middle Eastern countries they're not.
Well, used to not to be, like, not that many, but now they are, like...
But it's permissible.
Yeah, not all part, but some part are. I know my sister, I'm paying for their education. I'm sending them to school. It's really difficult, but I want them to have education. I want them to have equal right, because I was not
educated. Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity to...
Yeah, which would come by having education. They could compete with a man who knew the same thing.
Yeah, because in my family, I'm a Christian family still.
Right.
But my father has a mentality that he thinks that girls are less than guy. And I was a firstborn girl.
Okay.
And he thought that I brought shame to him and his family that I was a firstborn girl.
Yeah. Well, I know that in many of the agricultural-based countries like China, places where they need a boy to go out and work the farm and plow with the oxen and the horses and stuff like that, they usually do give preference. They hope to have a boy simply because he can labor, you know. He may be able to labor better. I don't know. I've
No,
seen you,
I mean,
I saw you push a car out of a ditch the other day.
I mean, see, I'm short, but I can do more things than man can do.
You're pretty good,
Because
I've seen.
I don't think so. The strength make you like stronger or weaker. Like look, I'm a girl. I will act like a girl, but when it comes to work, I work. I want equal right. I have to prove them that I deserve to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do my things that I need to do. I don't depend on other. That's what I want to teach other girls. Don't depend on other. Depend on yourself. First of all, depend on God.
Right.
And if God is with you, you can do anything.
Well, you're made by God. You're made in His image, whether you're a male or a
female. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but in a culture like you lived in, then your family had a difficult time working. That must have put kind of a financial burden on it, and that would put you to work at. How old were you when you started working?
I was 12 years old.
12 years old. That would be illegal in this country.
I know. Well, this country and Pakistan is two different things.
Yeah.
Well, I started working when I was 12. I went to school until 6th grade, and my father did not want to send me to school. I wanted to be a doctor when I was little, and my father told me, "You're not gonna be anything. You're nothing." He told me because I was a girl, and he said, "You're nothing," and I mean. I wanted to prove him that I am something. I'm a girl. That didn't make me less than a son.
Right.
And I wanted to prove him.
But this is cultural. This is not only your particular father as a unique case.
He taught other. He taught generation to generation. But look, I'm really stubborn. I don't believe what others believe. I can do it. Then it's new thing.
Yeah.
I don't think what people say that you can't do it. That didn't mean anything. If I can do it, that's then a new history.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's make history. So, how did you make history? What was your first job?
My first job was I was working in a sewing factory. I worked when I was 12 years old, and I used to work 14, 15 hours a day. That's
also. Okay, go on.
Illegal, I know, but Pakistan, there is nothing what legal or not.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing. And afterward, I worked there for 4 years there, and then my father was a bus driver, and he had a really bad accident, and he broke his back.
Wow.
And then my mother was ill before that, and she couldn't go to work, and my father had a broken back. I was the only source of income, and the factory somehow it closed in 2002. It closed, and so I had to go find job because I was the only person who put food on the table. So
how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 3 sisters and 3 brothers. They all are younger than me.
So you're a family of 6. Is that kind of
7?
Or 7?
A sister and brother.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. Sorry, bad math. Is that kind of common for Pakistan to have 5, 6, 7 children?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are more than that, but thank God.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.
So that's a lot to provide for.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was. And so I was pressured to myself that, I was only one, and I found this job at public call office. And a public call office was like little booth, I would say 4 by 6, or like really small, that one person can say.
This is a telephone
Booth.
Okay.
Like, India and Pakistan have those booths
For call service, if you want to
Call
make a
service.
telephone call, so you were like an operator, you would
I was
place
operator.
a call for someone.
Yeah,
Okay.
because many people back then, many people did not have their phone, like cell phone, like nowadays we have.
Right.
So what I used to do, dial call for them and those.
Okay.
And I started this job on June 1st, 2002, and June 15th, one man came and he asked me, he said, "Are you a Christian?"
He just came up with that idea, or
No, because I was wearing cross. See, I
you wore a
wore
cross.
like
Okay.
see, I wore cross all my life. My grandfather, who died a long time ago when I was like 6 years old, about 7 years old, and he gave me a cross. And I don't know, after that cross, I always feel like I'm protected. Under, like, it felt like that nobody can hurt me. You know, I know
understand.
it's just simple, but it was
Yeah.
somehow comforting to me. And so
So you were wearing a cross at work, and someone walked in and said, "Oh, you're a Christian."
yes, he asked me, "Are you a Christian?" And before that, my boss was telling me that, you should change to Islam. You're too pretty to be a Christian. In my case, my beauty was my enemy, because in the Muslims' point of view, that Christians shouldn't look that good. They should be ugly.
At this point, let me ask you something. I've always heard that one of the reasons that the women wear the burqas and are covered and things like that, is that really so that men are not tempted?
Be honest, as much you wear, as much you are in trouble. Because, see, that's Islamic thing. My problem was I never do what that would lead me to, they think that I'm a Muslim, or lead me to look, in my culture they pierce nose.
Okay.
Because that's a symbol of slavery.
And they choose to have the symbol of slavery by piercing the nose?
Most families make their
Okay.
daughter to do it, that girls are less.
Okay.
So I never did, because I said no, I
Okay.
am not slave to anybody. I cover my head when I pray, but I wore a cross, and I did not wear burqa. It's not because it's safe. It's Islam said that you should cover your head. A woman should cover head to toe.
Okay.
That's what Islam said. I don't believe what Islam said. I believe what Bible said.
Right.
In the Bible, I'm not gonna show my body up, but I'm not gonna cover head to toe either.
Right. Right. There's other ways to deal with sin and temptation and promiscuity and bad behavior.
I mean, I don't believe that doing something, wearing clothes, some kind of, or doing certain type of fashion will lead you to sin. Your heart will lead you to sin.
Exactly.
And
it's a heart issue.
My heart is belong to God, and I know that my heart, when I serve Him, when I follow His step, when I believe in the book, in the Bible, that word of God, that's what I will never sin, or I will try not to sin. I'm not gonna say never sin, because sometimes we talk and we sin, but I try every day that I pray that God help me not to.
Right. So you deal with sin on a heart level instead of
yeah.
instead of the clothesline level about.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. So your story now. Here you're a young girl working, and you're recognized as a Christian, and somebody comes in, and.
So he asked me, "Are you a Christian?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he asked me again, and I said, "Yes, sir." And then he asked me third time. And
is that a loaded question when somebody in an Islamic country asks you, "Are you a Christian?"
Because
do you suspect that there's trouble coming, or?
See, that's where my alarm went. My light bulb lighted up.
Yeah.
And I was careful. And see, in their culture, like lot of beautiful girls are not supposed to be Christian. Like because a lot of Christian working outside and whole day, they're like dark skin and and I was okay. I wasn't really good looking, but I was fair, and that's his point was that I might be just fooling people, or sometimes some people do this kind of thing, some crazy girls, but I wasn't, and I was cranky Christian too. I was like, when he asked me third time, I told him, "Didn't I told you so?" Because I was right there. I was 16 years old. I haven't.
That explains it.
Yeah, I was 16 years old, and I was feeding 8 people, and I have pressure that my father every day. My father said, "I will bring shame to him if anything happened," and all this. And this pressure in my mind I always, wherever I walk, really careful. I hope this didn't happen. I hope this didn't happen because, that I don't want my father to say that, see, she was a girl. That's why she did it.
Okay. I can connect those dots.
And,
I get it.
Yeah. And then after that, when he asked me and he said, Christian gonna go to hell and you living your life in a gutter. And I looked at him and I said, I know where I'm going. Because, see, when I come to Bible, I do not argue with people.
Mm-hmm.
I do not say anything. Everybody have opinion. He have his opinion. I have no... if he said I was going to go to hell, that didn't mean I was going to go to hell.
Correct. Right, sure.
That's his opinion. I said, okay.
God's opinion matters,
yeah,
but
I
man's
told
doesn't.
him, yes, sir. So I told him, I said, I know where I'm going. And then he told me, he said, if you change to Islam, your life will be better. You will live a life like a queen, and you're working for so little money.
Okay, is that because other Islamic women have wonderful lives and live like queens?
Yeah, I don't know what queen they're talking about.
Okay, so he obviously had other intentions for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He was trying to kind of bribe me and think that, if...
He was soliciting you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to make me make me look that Islam is better than Christianity, and and he said, if you change to Islam, you will have everything. And I told him, I said, I have everything. God gave me 2 hands, 2 feet, perfectly healthy body. I can work. I have everything. And then he told me again, he said, if you change to Islam, then you'll have, you work for so little money, and if you change to Islam, everybody will support you. And I told him, I don't need anybody's support. I can support myself. And in third time, he said, you're living a life in the gutter. If you change to Islam, he put money on the table as well, and he said,
Is money is that? I mean, is this just outright prostitution? I mean, like, I will pay you. Is that what the money means, or is it some other kind of enticement?
Like many Christian...
In your culture, I know what it means here in my country.
No, it was like many Christian girls, they were a lot of poor people. They do not have any other way. Either they die from starvation, or they change to Islam and somebody will help them a little bit, and then, who know you? Who are you? And who are...
Right, okay.
And so first they do this kind of thing, because when one person changed to Islam, they were all kind of celebration and helping, and then week later you die. Who know you? Nobody know you. So that's what he was trying to bribe me, in other word again. He told me, and he said, hey, take all this money and change to Islam, and everybody will support you, and we will support your family. Because obviously 16, like I was...
Right. If you're
young
16
girl,
years old and working, then there's a
yeah,
family need.
I was a young girl and working, and obviously that will be family reason. I wouldn't be working for my choice.
Right.
So he said, you know, if you change to Islam, we'll support your family and everything. And I told him, I said, I can support my family. They have me. They don't need anybody's support. So then he told me again, he said, you know, I'm trying to save your soul, and if you change to Islam, your life will be better. And I told him, I said, my life is better. And he said, I'm giving you last chance. And I'm trying to, like, you know that you're going to hell. And I told him, I said, I don't need your chance. I know where I'm going. And the last thing he tried to, I was sitting there and he tried to grab me and he tried to rape me. And many times they do. Or
this is a public place, right? But your
yeah.
boss is away and
No, I was by myself.
Okay.
I was by myself. And some extent, I think my boss was with him too. Like, you know, all planned. Because my boss was telling me that I should change to Islam too.
Okay.
And I just ignore. I'm good at ignoring. I all my life I get all kind of comment and I learn to ignore. Because that's what Muslim people do. They tell you and you ignore. Just
okay. So then, what?
crazy.
How did you get out of that situation, or what? He eventually left.
Yeah. So when he grabbed me and he tried to he tried to rape me, I slapped him and I pushed him and I told him, I said, I'm a girl, but I'm not weak. Because he thought, in my culture, a lot of time, that if girls don't listen to them, they rape them, or they will throw acid or something like they did to me. They will throw acid on them, and then they can't go home because a lot of times the girls' family don't accept them because they think that if they were raped or if there were something happened to them, they think they brought shame to their family.
Okay, is this superstitious? Is this like maybe
that's a
maybe
culture.
Allah did something to you, or
no? They said that you were a bad person, you deserve it.
So in other words, you got what you deserve. If you get raped, if you get persecuted,
yeah, if you are persecuted, it's your fault.
It's your
if you're
fault.
raped, it's your fault. So he tried, and a lot of times the girls, if they go to their family and their family kills them basically, and if they survive from family, nobody wanted to do anything with them, so they have to either change to Islam or kill themselves or do something like that. And
that's a dead end.
yeah, but I slapped him and I told him that he was trying to rape me or trying to scare me, either or. I was not.
Well, it doesn't matter if somebody's physically on you, then
Yeah.
you might as well assume the worst and
He
prepare.
grabbed my hand and he tried to push me and he tried to get close to me and I slapped him before even he had a chance.
Yeah.
And I picked up his money and I threw it at his face and I told him, I said, I'm a girl, but I'm not weak. Get out of here. And he said, I'm giving you a last chance. He put in some more money and he said, take all this and change to Islam and trying to save your soul. You're gonna, you know that you're living in the darkness. And I told him, I said, I know I'm living in the light. And he said, so you think Islam is in dark? I told him, you said so. And then he said, girls like you.
Well, that's a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I said, I didn't said anything to him all this time because I knew that always set a trap. They will say something and when he was telling me that I was gonna go to hell, I was gonna do this, I was living life in a gutter and this and that. I knew that was a trap for me.
Exactly.
But I didn't respond anything. And also, I don't know, to argue with religion you know what? That's your opinion. Go for it. And I knew what he was like. I was really careful, but in that point I said, I know I'm living in the light. And he said, Islam is in dark. I said, you said so. I didn't say it.
Right.
He said, I said I'm living in light, and he said, Islam is in dark. I said, you said so. And then he said, you know, girls like you, daytime they say they are Christian, nighttime they sleep with 100 men. And I told him, I said, you're barking to the wrong tree. I'm not like those. And inside, I was really scared, be honest. I was really, really scared that, you know, I was 16 years old and there is a 6 feet tall man and you slapped him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have to worry about it. What gonna happen next? But I was just waiting for my boss to come so I can tell him what happened. And I was while I was waiting, and the man came back, and he brought acid, and it was about maybe 30 or 45 minutes later. In Pakistan, if you have money, you can buy anything. And I mean, you guys saw it on the news all the time.
Mm-hmm.
At Pakistan, there is, I mean, always something. It's always on the news. I'm not degrading any country or religion or anything, but that's how it is. That's the reality. And many times you guys did not see what is really true in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was able to buy
acid. And he brought it, acid, and when he opened, I was sitting like that, and when he opened the door, and I looked up, and he threw acid, like he threw bottle of acid like that, and when he did that, I suddenly turned my face to this side, and I tried to protect my face, and it's like how this whole my face was burned, and my arm, and this arm as well too. And then he came, and he was standing right there, and one man behind him came in, and he pulled my hair back, and the first man, he was trying to pour acid into my throat, and they were saying that they're gonna destroy the mosque, said no to Islam. And when I was trying to fight with them, trying to get away from them, and finally they did pour acid into my throat, but they left, and I was screaming and crying for help, and I went after them.
So you lost part of your esophagus?
Yes, sir, I do, and I'll tell you about that too. And then when I went outside and I was screaming for help, nobody was there, but the one block behind the office, that one lady heard me, and she came and she threw her head cover over me to take me to her house, and my clothes was melting, my body was smoking, and my clothes was melting, and my pieces of my skin melted and fall on the ground. I saw my whole cheek, this part of my cheek, like from here to here, my cheek melted and
So you've had a lot of reconstructive surgery.
Yes, sir. So far I have 28 surgeries. Okay. Some in Pakistan, some here in the United States, and then people took me to the hospital, but also people caught those two men, and the two men. Then police came, and when police came, the man told the police and all the people who were gathered there that I insulted Islam.
Okay, and that's all. That set them free. That was all the excuse
police
they needed.
Police let them go. All the people who was there, all the people who took me to the hospital turned against me. They told that they told the hospital that if the hospital treat me, they will set hospital on fire.
So did the hospital treat you, or did you have to go to a...
Right there, first they took me in, but after the other people arrived...
Then they were threatened.
then they were threatened, and then they were like, I told them that somehow my family also found out. My family was there too.
Okay.
And when my family came, and the doctor told my family that we cannot treat her, and we're not gonna put other people's life in risk for her.
So they won't treat you because you're an infidel, and other people will come and set the hospital on fire, and they didn't want to jeopardize the lives of the others.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then my family took me to the other hospital, and the same thing happened there. The doctor said, we're not going to put other people's life in risk for her, so they let me go too. And then third hospital, that's where they treated me for 21 days. And so the doctor said same thing, but my mom begged the doctor, and she told him, she said, you know, when you got your degree, you swore that you will help whoever need help, not that only people who are Muslim. You said you will help anybody needed, and now she's a Christian, and you're not gonna help her. So, and then the doctor, somehow God put a mercy in his heart.
Okay. And
doctor was agreed to treat me, and he kept telling my mom, she's gonna die anyway, what's the point of it? And my mom said, she's gonna die, but when still she's breathing. So then the doctor told the nurse, okay, go ahead, put IV on it. And all they did was put IV every day, and they put honey on my scars every day. And for every day they told my family that she's gonna die today, she's gonna die today.
And you were there for what,
21 after 21 days, then I was pronounced dead, but a few days after they let me go too, because people started coming with
Okay, that sounds very contradictory. You'll have to explain that to us. You were pronounced dead, and then they let you go.
Yeah, because, okay, then every day for until 21 days they kept telling, and then 20 days later my father came to the hospital. I mean, he came every day, but that day he came, and it was 6th of February. I got burned on 15th, and 15th of June. And I got burned in July 6th. July 5th, my father came. Sorry, I'm really bad in date.
It's okay.
July 5th, my father came, and he was telling my mom that what people are saying. My uncle was saying that I deserve this, and people, be honest, people call me every bad name in the book.
So it's like kicking you while you're down.
While I have wound, they were throwing salt as much they could.
Okay.
That's what they're doing.
Because the belief is you did something to deserve it.
Yes, they thought I deserve it, and my uncle called me bad name. People called me bad name, and my uncle told my father that I might be sleeping with mans and stuff and all those kind of thing. And of course, when father hears this kind of thing, that my uncle was calling me hooker and stuff, of course he would be mad. And plus, the doctor told my father that I will never be able to speak again or see again or move my arm. This arm lost muscles over here, so I was like this. My arm was really skinny, now it's fat. But I was like this, and this hand lost muscles. So I still have problems with this hand and this arm, but I can use my arms and stuff. So I was like this, and they said I will never be able to speak again because 67% of my esophagus were damaged. You could see my teeth through hair. Okay. You could see my esophagus is from here. That's how it was. Like, I did not have they did skin graft all over here. So then my father told my mother, he said, I'm tired of it, I'm fed up what people saying, and the doctor said she's gonna die if she live, and she wouldn't be able to speak or see or
She'll be
use
a
her.
burden.
Yeah, and he said, I'm not gonna feed her rest of my life. And you know, he told my mom, I was on the second floor, and he told my mom that let's throw her out of the window. Nobody gonna know who did it.
How do you know that he said that?
I could hear him.
You could hear
I
him.
couldn't see. I couldn't talk, but I could hear.
Okay.
He was right there.
Okay.
He was fighting with my mom, and my mom was crying. And I mean, I could hear how far they're talking and how close. And he was trying to get close to my bed. He was trying to somehow throw me or something, and my mom was trying to stop him. And he said, let's throw her out of the window. Nobody gonna know. And after hearing that, my father said, be honest, it was
That was
the
probably
worst
the worst
than
experience.
all those things happened.
Yeah.
You know, all I could deal with, my whole body was burned. That was not, that pain, the first day I felt when I was burned, it was nothing compared to what my father said.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there is a proverb that says a man can bear the iniquity or the infirmities of his flesh, but a wounded spirit who can bear. And what it means is that exactly what you said, the most difficult thing to deal with, somehow God will give you grace to get through your acid burns, losing your sight, losing your mobility, all that stuff. But when your heart is wounded, it's much more difficult.
See, yeah, in that time, I was disappointed. Name everything that in the book is disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
I was discouraged. I did not want to live. I was hopeless. I was angry so much. I had so much anger suddenly. Suddenly after this word I heard. Suddenly so much anger that I did not know how to tell anybody. I couldn't tell anybody how I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I cried. I cried and I prayed. I said, God, why did you do this to me? Why did you put me through this? I stand up for you. And you made me go through so much. And last thing I needed, my father was taking my life. That day, I said, God, I said every bad name thing to God. I don't know. I mean, I was so angry. And somehow I knew He's the only one could hear me.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one could see what I was going through. You will be the only one that will leave me. I wished over and over that I wish I died. I don't want to live this life. I wished over and over that God takes my life. I prayed that God, I do not want to live. If you care about me a little bit, take me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear anything, one word more. That's how much I was angry at God. Because I can't be angry at my dad because he showed me all his life, all he did was criticize me. And I was angry because God made me girl. Why did God made me girl? And all those things, it was so much. Sorry, excuse me.
No, I think that of the people watching, there's nobody. There may be somebody, but very few people can identify. We understand what heartbreak and disappointment and depression and disillusionment is, but to experience it at that level is something probably that very few people have gone through.
Yeah, and so then I cried and prayed, and over the night somehow, I do not know, and I prayed. I said, God, what's the point of my life? I don't want to live this handicapped life. I don't want it to live like that. And
you couldn't see, you couldn't talk, you
yes,
couldn't
sir.
move.
I couldn't even move my fingers because I didn't have any strength left in my arm because all the muscles were gone in this hand, this arm, and all the muscles were gone in this arm, hand. So I couldn't move my fingers on this hand or either this one. Both of hand was handicapped, and I was then over the night somehow, I don't know what, but I was getting worse and worse and worse, and by the night I couldn't breathe at all. And they did the, what is it called?
Tracheotomy, where they opened up your esophagus so that you could breathe.
I could breathe, and plus 67% of my esophaguses were damaged. And right now I do not have that many scar on my esophaguses because they did surgery inside, and as well they put an expander here in Galveston Hospital. The doctor put expander here, which they expanded my skin from here, and they pulled that skin up to here. A scar used to be really up to here, so they expanded.
Okay.
So now I have a less scar on my left side, but it used to be all the way here. So then the doctor, by the morning, doctor said, "See, we told you she's not gonna survive. We've been telling you." And my mom was standing right by my side, and she was crying and praying. And then, but when I heard doctor telling my mom that, I couldn't breathe, and I was so much in pain. The pain was so much. It was inside, outside. It was hurting so much that my heart was worse than my wounds. I don't know which was worse. So when I heard the doctor, I started telling God, "See, I cursed at you, and I told you what you done, and now you're gonna punish me for saying that, and now you're gonna hurt me because I said that, and now you're making it so difficult for me because I said bad thing about you." And think how I feel when people say bad thing about me. And I didn't do anything wrong. Just I stand up for you, and you doing this to me because I just said something about you. And
while you're having this monologue with God by yourself, did He ever answer you?
He did. Trust me, He did. I'll tell you that. So I was telling that, and I said, "I'd rather die. I don't want to. If you care about me a little bit, take me. I don't want to live." And after a little while, I don't know. Last thing I remember was that they were trying to bring my heart out because my body started shutting down, and my heart was like almost stopped. And then that's what last thing I remember. And after that, I wanted Him to take me. He did take me.
You mean they were putting the shock?
They were giving me shocks.
Reverberate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Can't think of the word. Fibrillation or something.
Oh, okay. Whatever. I was going to be a doctor.
Thumps. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to be a doctor. Think about if I was a doctor. Oh my gosh.
All right. So it jumpstarts your heart. So it must have stopped if they were like doing that.
Yeah. And last thing I remember, but then after that, God did took me, and doctor pronounced me dead. And my mom told me that she said the doctor told my dad, and he was gonna go. He went and called my family that he is bringing dead body home, because in my country they bury their dead same day.
Okay.
And he called and he said, "I will bringing dead body home, so prepare everything." And plus it was 135 degrees in July. It can reach that high.
Okay.
And plus I was born, I would smell real bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that time.
So how long was this? I mean, no heartbeat,
no, nothing pulse. My body was totally shut. But that time, when this happened, I do have out of body experience, and that time God did took me. But I did not. I wish I could words the things that I said to God. I still, to this day, I know He forgot. I know He did not remember, and I try to forget as much I can. But that day God told me that He cried with me every time I cried. He did not put me through, but He was suffering through with me. And when I was little, my dad was so abusive to me, verbally, physically. And every time my dad beated me or something, I always sat on the floor and pray. Because I learned from my mom that my dad was so abusive to my mom as well. So every time he did something to her, she always sat on the floor and she prayed. And I thought my mom was the dumbest woman in the whole world. And I told her, why don't you leave him? But I was about 7 or 8 years old. And she said, if I leave him, I will be breaking my promise to God. But I promise that better or worse, or sickness or health, whatever, I will be with him. But plus, I will let devil win. That's devil want him to be like that. That I'm God's person.
Mm-hmm.
I will stand against the devil.
Her. Good for her.
Watching her all through this, I learned to pray like that. And every time I did pray like that, you know, this bubble, I felt this bubble. Every time something happened, this bubble built around me. Nobody could reach to me.
You felt secure.
I felt secure. I felt like nobody can hurt me anymore. My father can't get to me. And that day God told me that was not the bubble. That was His arm around me. When I was sitting and crying, He was crying with me. And sorry. And by saying that all this thing that my life didn't have a purpose, and He told me that He have a reason for me. Why did He choose me? Why do you think that I'll be one that live this life and glorify Him? Why He chose me from all of those people? And throughout, why He gave me this kind of life? And remind me the times that if my dad was not strict, if my dad was not mean to me, how could I slap that man? How could I have this ambitious to be somebody? Mm-hmm. If my dad was not mean to me, this happened all for a reason. If my dad didn't do this to me, I wouldn't have a strength to stand up. I would be like other girl, listening to men and not doing anything about it. And the same example, that if I didn't went through this, how could I work for Him? How could I stand up for all these things? How could I help those girls that who've been persecuted to see what God had done for them in the past and what He have a plan for them in the future? How could?
Which is what you're doing now, and we'll get to that.
Yes,
in a bit.
sir.
Yeah.
And all this, and God showed me everything He planned for me, all the reason He had for me. And I wanted to tell you everything, but I promised to God I wouldn't tell anybody until I fulfilled that purpose. But after that, the life I had it in past for 16 years, it was gone. That day God gave me a new life and I decided to live for Him.
So, at this point, if you're lying in the hospital and you've been pronounced dead, and I mean, we're hearing the inside, all the things that you're thinking and feeling at that time. What was it that got you out of the hospital? How did...
Okay, I'm gonna get to the point. So after that, my mom told me that's what I have experienced before, like I mean when I was out of body experience, and so my mom told me that when my dad called and they're not gonna give you dead body right away. You have to do certain thing. You have to do paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom said she was standing there. And she was crying, and she saw my right toe just shook a little bit, my foot. And when she saw that, and she told the doctor she is alive, and the doctor said, no, that is not possible. I have 35 years experience. There is no way. Doctor told my mom, and my mom said, no, she's alive. And the doctor told, and there was other students there, and they came to see that, she swallowed acid and all this, and how come she's still alive? How come she's not dead? I mean, how come she lived for 21 days?
Mm-hmm.
How come she didn't die right away? And
when the EKG machine stops, when the heartbeat stops, how long was that episode?
I don't know. My mom didn't know that. But I know the time she said after they did that, they put oxygen. I'll get to that point. So they told my mom, and my mom kept telling them, and they did not listen to my mom. And my mom begged the doctor, and women are good in knowing the man.
Mamas love their babies.
She annoyed the doctor so much, and the doctor told the nurse, she said, you know what, if that lady leave me alone, I would
There's a parable in the Bible about a woman who just was persistent, and finally just do it.
Yeah, and the doctor told my mom that you just saw your daughter dying, you got shocked, and so you're
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And my mom said, no, I'm not crazy, she's alive. So she kept gnawing after all, she told the doctor, just don't do anything. Just put oxygen mask on her. And, the doctor told nurse, okay, if they'll let you leave me alone, go ahead, nurse, go put the oxygen mask. So they put an oxygen mask, and after they put an oxygen mask, 15 minutes and 33 seconds after the mask, I started breathing. My mom said last thing when they put it that time, she said I did like
Mm-hmm.
that, and she said I called doctor, and when doctor saw it, and doctor's mouth was dropped, jaw was dropped. I mean, he saw a ghost, and my mom said that the doctor told, he was highly Muslim, he had beard up to here, and the doctor told my mom that whatever she believed beyond my thought, I'd never seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? When my mom told me that, there's so much joy, and it was worth it, all the pain I went through. It was worth it that everything happened to me. It was worth it for that one man's one word that beyond his thought. Because he know I believe in living God.
Yes.
I believe in Jesus Christ. He knew it. And when he said that, it's all worth it. All the pain I went through, I forgot. Because they were. And so after that, Muslim people heard about this, then I was pronounced dead, and I was God giving me life and everything. They came.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No, they said it would be insult to Islam because if I lived. So
Right.
they wanted,
Somebody's watching out for the infidel.
yes, and they wanted me to be dead. So they told the doctor, and like you know, if she lived, that would be insult and this and that, and they start coming with the guns and stuff. So the doctor told my mom it's not safe for her, take her somewhere else. I don't know, he was Muslim, but I wouldn't say that all Muslim are bad and all Muslim are good.
He got you out of there?
He told my mom he could get me killed too, you know, but he didn't. He saved my life that time.
Good.
And I moved to the other hospital. That's where God given me my voice and my eyes, in that hospital. And that's where I was tortured. I had a surgery. I was fully awake. And
no anesthesia, nothing?
No. That hospital, I was there, and every day for 3 months and 17 days listening to the doctor saying that she will never be able to see again. She will never be able to talk again. She will never be able to move her hand again. And listening to the doctor every day over and over, it was hard. I one day, after 3 months and 17 days later, doctor told my mom that you know, there is no improvement. There is no point. If she lives, she will like be handicapped and this and that. And when I heard that, I started crying and praying to God. I said, God, why this? What is the purpose of my life? You gave me a reason to live for. You want me to fulfill your purpose, but what? How I'm gonna do this? Because I can't speak. I can't even move my finger. I can't even see. How I'm living a handicapped life, that's how I'm gonna fulfill your purpose? So I started crying, and I started praying that God, I don't want to live handicapped life. You'd rather take me. And started crying and praying again, as we always, human beings, we whine. So
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So I was praying and crying, and suddenly I felt this burning. It's burning like not acid burning. It was burning that it was forcing me to do something. It was forcing me to move my body. It was forcing me to move my hand. And I was crying, and I said, I started saying that, God, see, I said something to you, now you wanna make me suffer again.
Yeah.
And I was crying.
It's such a typical strategy of the devil to take something and transfer all your aggression and blame over to God. Yeah, and it's but we're not ignorant of the devil's devices, but sometimes he pulls it on you, and you think you need to be mad at God.
Yeah. So I was crying, and suddenly this forcing burning was, and I thought that if I turn on the fan, it will stop. But I couldn't tell anybody to turn on the fan, please.
Right.
Because I couldn't talk.
You can't talk, you can't see, you can't move.
Yeah, and I was like, what I will do? Nothing. I wanted this fan to turn on, so it stopped. That's how I translated those. And this burning, and so I asked, I kept crying and praying, and my arm I was trying to move my arm. I don't know, I didn't want to move, but it was moving. It was like forcing things that was going on. I do not know still. I believe it was the Holy Spirit. I believe God was working, but still I don't understand.
I think we can safely give him credit.
Yeah, of course. So I was a 20-minute struggle. Every time I picked it up, my hand, I dropped it because I didn't have enough strength. So about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I finally got hold of both sides of my bed. And when I was holding I pulled myself, and I had all was open wound. I mean, it was all open, and it was bleeding. It was like I could feel blood, pain and everything, but the force was more than this pain. That burning was more than all this pain. So finally I got to sit, and then I turned around, and I tried to, like, in Pakistan, I was not in a private room, and plus they don't have, in the hospital especially, they don't have a ceiling fan, they have fan on the wall, and I always felt air coming top of my head because my bed was against the wall, and right there it was fan. So I always felt the air where the air coming from, and I blindly touched the wall and blindly stand up first time after 3 months and 17 days, and think about not moving at all, and suddenly you're moving, your whole body is like stiff. But I managed to stand up and find the leash, and I turned it on the fan, but didn't help. And other patient's caregiver, she saw it, and when she saw it, she saw me standing against the wall, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna fall." And when she said, "You're gonna fall," and my mom heard.
But they didn't even think you could move.
Yeah, I know. And when my mom saw it, she was not right there. I don't know where she was. But my mom came, and they both helped me to get set on my bed. And I was sitting, and my mom started crying, and she said, "See, the doctor, they called the doctor, and she told the doctor, see, you said she will never be able to move. Look, she's moving." And she was crying.
God.
And when my mom said, "Look, she's moving," clicked. It said, "Look, you're telling God you're handicapped. You can't move your arm. You stand up." And right there I started crying. I said, "God, I'm sorry." As always, I was guilty. I cried, and I felt so bad that why I do this. I was crying and praying, and suddenly the doctor said, my mom was telling the doctor still, she was talking to him, and he said, "So what? If she's moving, that didn't mean that she can talk or see. That didn't mean anything." And right
That's
there,
a bucket of cold water in it. Like,
I know.
Let's put this fire out.
And then when he said to my mom that, and I heard him, I was blaming God. I was saying all those things. But right when he said it, it made me so mad. I heard him, and in my head, I was praying. I said, "God, I'm sorry what I did. I'm sorry how I doubted you. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry. I was guilty." And in my head, I said, "I wish, God, I could tell this doctor that you went to medical school for 5 or 10 years, but who gave you a brain? Who gave me eyes when I was in my mother's womb? Who gave me voice when I was in my mother's womb? It was my God. If he
that would be the right answer.
If he can do that time, he can do the same thing now." And I was thinking in my head, I wished I can tell him. That's what I was praying. I was saying to God, "God, I wish I could tell this doctor this." But my lips were moving, and songs was coming out, and I was talking to doctor.
So you got your voice. You got your speech back.
Yes, sir. I was moving my lips and voice, and I was telling the doctor, "You went to 5 years or 10 years to school. Who gave you voice? Who gave you head, a brain? And who gave me voice when I was in my mother's womb? Who gave you eyes?" And when I said that, my mom, she started crying so loud, and she was hugging me, and she said she could talk. And the doctor said, "So what?" I don't know.
The heart of an unbeliever. That's all it is.
That's the doctor gave me poison, by the way.
Wow.
And so he, when he was said that, and I was crying, and when I heard my voice for a minute, I stopped and I started crying so loud. I was crying that, God, I'm sorry I doubted you. See, as a human, we wanted this big piece of puzzle, but God wanted us to have a whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want me to have a piece of puzzle. I was impatient, which I am working on. I'm still are some part of my life, but I'm still working on. And I was, if I could ever go back in my life, that's what I would change, to being thoughtful to God.
Mm-hmm.
Twice, not actually twice, 3 times, but after all
We'll just
this,
call you Peter from now on.
I know. So then I was crying and sitting there and praying, and my eyes were itching, and I was bleeding all over. My neck was bleeding, and my arm was bleeding. But nobody cared that time. I didn't care. All the pain was nothing compared to my excitement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was, I was praying and crying, and I had bandages all over my face. Like I had bandages up to here,
Okay.
like all over my face and that side, and my eye as well too. I was blind on both eyes, and this eyes as well. If you could see I had surgeries on, and this right eye, I lost it totally. But
so your right eye is prosthetic?
Yes, sir, prosthetic lens, and I did not have eyelids, upper or lower.
Okay.
And half of my nostril was gone, and my lips, and this side of my face was gone. So then when I was pulling my bandages off, and while I was pulling my bandages off, corner of my eye, I saw light. And I told the doctor, I can see the light. And you know what he said?
Wait a minute, let me guess. So what? It doesn't matter, or something like the last 2 episodes.
No, he said, you don't see the light, you feel the light. So he told me,
you really don't talk, you just think you're talking. You really can't move, you just think you're moving.
Yeah.
You don't see light, you just think you see light.
Yeah.
You feel the heat.
Yeah, I told him, no, I can see the light. And so I argued with him, and finally he took pen out of his pocket, and he said, what I'm holding? I said, you're holding a pen. And then he held 2 fingers. He didn't believe his ear. So he said, how many fingers I'm holding? I told him, I said, 2 fingers. And then my mother was standing next to him, and I told her she was wearing orange color, and to be honest, I don't like orange color. And they call it typical Christian color, red, orange, green. I do not like orange color, so I told my mom was wearing orange dress. I said, Mom, how many times have I told you I hate that color, don't wear this dress? And when the doctor heard me saying that, he stormed off. He was so mad. He stormed off. And later on...
that seems so contrary to ethical medical practice. You should be rejoicing that the patient that you've had and been working on has recovered so rapidly.
Yeah, but they enjoyed my suffering. They enjoyed that. They knew I was gonna die either or. That if they knew I wouldn't survive from acid at all.
Yeah.
They knew it. After all this, swallowing acid, part of your stomach is gone, part of your esophagus are gone. Of course, you're not gonna survive. And then the doctor left, and well, he was really mad at me, but I made it through. People was coming with a gun to kill me. Every time they try to come, I'm somewhere. I'm always busy. I was busy in the hospital too. That's not that now I'm busy. I was always like doing something. One time they came, there 3 men came with the guns, and they covered their faces, and came with a gun, and I was in the dressing room, but they were changing all the bandages and stuff, and my mom ran, and she they were asking about me, and they were wearing guns, and my mom saw it. She ran to the dressing room and she hid me.
Incredible.
And then
you're a popular girl.
I know, everybody wanted to kill me. Yeah. So then afterward, I had a really bad infection in my left arm, and the infection was almost to my bone, and if I didn't get...
Did you have gangrene, or was that...
I did not know what it called, but it was
Okay.
bad infection.
Okay.
They have to amputate my arm if I didn't get it
Okay.
soon enough to get surgery. And because in Pakistan, plus it's Pakistani hospital, government hospital did not have that much, and plus I was already bedside of doctor, everybody's bedside.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not getting the treatment I should. And my mom used to do my bandages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So nurse wanted to help me, and nobody. And so the doctor told my parents that I needed a surgery as soon as I can, or I will lose my arm. And my mom said that we can't pay for it. In my country, you pay first and then you get treatment.
Okay.
It's opposite of United States.
Right.
And my mom said we don't have enough money, and the doctor said, well, either she have to have surgery, or her arm will lose her arm. And I was crying. I said, no, I don't want to lose my arm. And I begged the doctor, and nobody in my relative or in my society, nobody wanted to help me. And the doctor, I was begging the doctor, do something, please. I do not want to lose my arm. And you know what he said? If you change to Islam, I will pay for your treatment. That made me so mad. I told him, I said, you know what? When I had everything, I didn't do it then. What make you think I will do it now? I'd rather lose my arm. First I was crying for it, but then I made me mad. I told him that. And then...
it seems so opportunistic.
Yeah, it was taking advantage of my problem.
Yeah.
So then he said, well, then you lose your arm. And I was crying, and I was still, and my mom said, please, doctor, do something. And I was begging the doctor, and he said, well, I gave you a choice. And he said, or I will see how strong you are, because I made him mad already, saying that I didn't do it when I have chance.
Right. Why would I do it now?
Yeah. And you know you have a shadow in the back. Okay, just let it. And
there's people creeping around back there.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll go away. They're harmless.
Okay. Then the doctor said that he said, if you're that strong, why don't you have it without it? And when he said that, he said, I will voluntarily do the surgery. And somehow it made me feel like he was challenging me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was trying to make me like, I'm a girl, I can't do this.
He was challenging you. He was mocking you.
Me. That's what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That made me so mad. It reminded me of my father doing all the time. He was mocking me. And so I told him, will you do it? And he said, I will voluntarily do the surgery, and I will see how long you can stand, how long you can hold it, and how strong you are. And when he said that, my mom said no. My mom begged me not to. And I said, will you do it? And the doctor, I knew it, I'm going to die either or. But at least I will die like, as, I'm not a soldier, I'm not. But, for example, soldier, they stand in the border, they know they're going to die either or if there is some fight or something. Right. But they don't run and turn their back. I'm going to die and stand. At least they can say that somebody will stand up for their faith. At least they will not tempt other people. I don't know. I was taking every opportunity to set example for other girls and Christians. And so then the doctor told...
well, I can't help but think that's not challenges that we hope too many people have to face.
I pray that it's every day. That is every day hundreds of Julies live in this world. Every day. And you know what? I pray every day, God. Living my life like me it looked easy, but how I lived this past 9 years of my life, it's really difficult. But I'm thankful to God that I'm alive. So, 2 days later, I was going to have surgery, and the doctor got all the medicine and everything ready. And he had it on the tray thingy. And you know what he told me?
You mean he had the anesthesia available to you in case you chose to convert to Islam?
Yes. You know, he said, if you say yes, everything, I will do surgery with like all the medication, and from now on, I will pay for all the treatment you have, and I will do everything you needed for your treatment from my own pocket if you say yes to Islam.
What's the game? It seems so.
Yeah, because they said if I live, it will be insult to Islam. So I was hard-headed, and as much hard I play, and much they tried. Mm-hmm. And this was a perfect opportunity because you can't see yourself. They're cutting pieces out of you or doing that. You can't see that, and it's too much pain. And especially, I was already patient. I went through so much, and he thought it was perfect timing.
Right.
And so, when he said that, I turned my face to the other side. I pretended I didn't hurt him anything, and then the nurse was gonna put, you know how they put blue or green sheet or something between you and the part they're gonna do the surgery.
Right. Yeah. So you're not seeing it.
Seeing it, but the doctor told the nurse that leave it. I want her to see it. And I was when he.
Well, I'd ask for a different doctor.
I know, but there is no. I didn't have a choice. Yeah. It was government hospital. I'm sure. And so.
You don't get a choice in a government hospital?
No, sir.
Okay.
Especially in my case, there was no choice at all.
Yeah.
So he, when he started cutting, and he was cutting infection, and I started crying and screaming. It was too much pain. I couldn't bear it. And I was crying and screaming, and he told me that if I cry and scream, he will leave the surgery in the middle. And so I needed that surgery, and I was crying, and I was holding him like this, and I was saying, God, please, please give me strength. This is my last. And be honest, I was so weak at that point. If God didn't help me, I don't know what would happen. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't know. Either I'll be dead or I'll be Muslim. I didn't know. I was so weak, and I prayed. I said, God, I'm so weak. I'm standing on the edge. It can be any second. And I was praying and crying in my heart, and suddenly I started praying that God, Jesus, cover me in your blood. Jesus help me. And when I was praying that, and when he cut something out of here, and splash of blood was all over my face. For me, that was sign. Because my blood is not mine, because he bought me with his blood. My body, my soul is belong to him. And this was sign for me that he covered me with his blood. He is with me. And be honest, after that, I was holding my hand like that. I was praying, and I suddenly start thinking about the time that when they crucified Jesus, when they were nailing him. Start thinking, did they give him anything? Did they give him pain medicine? He was fully awake. He didn't do anything. He died for me. I did something because I said no to Islam.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I was praying. I mean, I didn't know how. I know it was God. But all the pain, my nail went through my skin. I was holding hand and my nail went through my skin, and I did not feel any pain. That's how much comfort I was in. I felt hand over my head. I was laying there and praying, not crying, not begging the doctor, please, please give me medicine. Please give me painkiller. He saw it. He was so mad. He left the surgery in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And nurse finished it. I saw they were doing skin graft. I saw they were taking skin out of my leg. I saw blood coming out of my leg. And my whole arm was full of blood. But I was just laying there and praying. My lips were moving. And the doctor got so mad. And later on, instead of antibiotic, he thought, well, she didn't die that way. Let's try other way. He gave me a poison instead of antibiotic. And I woke up 2 weeks later in other hospital. At that time there be the 5th hospital. That's where I woke up, and that's where I hid for almost 3 or 4 months. And until then, Muslim couldn't find me. But they knew I woke up, and they knew that I was not dead, and they wouldn't let it go until I was dead. And many of the cases you might saw it on the news, that unless they hang you or something, if you say you committed blasphemy,
Mm-hmm.
and some, they wouldn't stop. So they wanted to find me, and so they set my house on fire. And they set my house on fire, and my sister
With seven siblings, or
6 siblings.
You weren't there, yeah.
No, and my mom was with me in the hospital, and my dad was not home, and my sister was watching. My little sister was watching my sister and brother, and my brother, who was 8 years at that time, they were throwing our furniture and everything, and he was trying to stop those men, grown up people, and they beat him so much they broke his leg. And then the other my brother, who was 2 years at that time, my younger brother, he couldn't get out of the fire on time. He was burned, and those people kicked us from our own house, and we were forced to leave that town. And when I heard that, I came back, because I knew that they couldn't find me. That's why they're gonna do this to my family. So I came back and I said, you know what, they're gonna kill me. Do whatever. I'm not gonna change to Islam. Do whatever you want to do. You're gonna hang me. Shoot me, whatever. I don't care. But do not hurt my family. And I came back, and we moved to other town, and I used to cover my face like up to here. Nobody could recognize to the other town. So I was there, and like one morning, me and my mom was walking to church. It was a year or so later, and we were walking to church, and that's where the two men was running toward me, and one was pretty far away, and one was kind of close, but not that close. And I thought they were fighting with each other, and they had a pistol and they were shooting, I mean openly. And I ran. First thing I saw, it was clothing store, and I ran. In this kind of situation, you don't know what to do. I ran, and I was standing in front of that clothing store, and the man that was kind of close, he shot me directly right here on my forehead. But when my mom saw him, my mom just pushed me later, and I just turned my head like that, and the bullet went through here, broke the skin, and then went through here and broke the skin. And then I tried to turn, but I ran, and the one bullet went through here, got out of here, just broke the skin again. And then I ran to the clothing store, and first thing I saw, it was a table sitting there, and the front of the table was covered. And I ran onto the table, and the man ran after me in the store, and he looked everywhere in the store, but except that table. And when he was leaving, he was looking around, and he was standing next to the table, and the blood was all over under his feet, but he didn't saw it.
Didn't see it.
For me, I believe that God blinded him. And then later on, he tried. They left. They thought they killed me, but unfortunately, God don't have enough Tylenol. I don't know. I let him have, I think, 3 months, 17 days. I didn't talk. I don't know how I hold it. But I believe God didn't have enough Tylenol. That's why he said, keep sending me back as a joke.
Yeah.
But God gave me life that day again. And after that, I have so many people. Like a lot of time they came with a gun into my house. A lot of night we ran for our lives. And
but doesn't okay, so the entire concept of law enforcement, of police protection and
it's
civil
not
authorities,
because mine is not. Police was after me too.
Okay.
So
right.
everybody was after me because they said I committed a blasphemy, which I insulted Islam. I said Islam isn't dark. And so they were gonna kill me for that. So they said they're gonna hang me, but
But the rope broke.
No, rope didn't broke. I didn't get to that point.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised after hearing all of this.
Rope broke.
But actually, it's not funny. I know that, but
yeah, but it was pretty funny.
But then but now you're in America and nobody's hanging you, shooting you, poisoning you.
No, then they were gonna, first of all, they were gonna, they told me that either if I have to live, I have to change to Islam, and if I didn't change to Islam, they're gonna hang me. I told him, I said, you had the same answer for year or so. I told you I didn't do it then. What make you think now? I didn't born Christian, but I know I will die Christian.
That's good. That's
Only
good.
thing they can, I told them, I said, you can destroy my body as much you want to. You thought that throwing acid would destroy my beauty, but sorry, you forgot to rip my heart out. Because my face don't have a beauty. My heart do.
That's right.
That's where Christianity came. That's where my beauty is.
That's the beauty in the ornament that we wear, and spiritual.
Yeah, and then after that, it made them more mad. So they were trying to kill me, and they were finding way. But somehow, one Christian bishop, who helped me, he's a non-denominational bishop, and who helped me. I do not want to put his life in jeopardy.
Right.
I don't want to name him, but...
So someone helped you.
He helped me to escape my country. Plus, he was Pakistani, and he got some people involved from the United States. And that the hospital, Shriner Hospital in Galveston, they were involved. They made it they struggled a lot of way to get me here.
Okay.
But first the embassy was not letting me, but they said then she committed blasphemy law. She can't. She has to pay for what she did, and I have to pay for it, saying that I live in light.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said I didn't, and I don't believe insulting any religion.
No.
It's my right. Whoever believe whatever, that's there. And as a Christianity, as a Christian, we accept whoever is. We don't set people apart. And I do not.
Right. Even God has given us free moral agency.
Yeah, and Jesus did not came for Christian only. He came whoever believe in him.
Right.
And this video is like this story is not for to insult or degrade or set people apart because their religion, color, or anything, or gender. It's for what God did in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Man tried to take my life, but God kept giving me life, and they didn't get the message. You know, they tried so many times and they didn't get the message. But
well, let me ask you about this, and we'll just in closing. I know a couple things about you. I know that your educational story has turned into a success.
yes, sir.
Yes, yeah. You've done that well. But even beyond that, give me just a few words on forgiveness, because that's fundamental to a Christian. That's one of the basic things that Jesus taught us to do. And people listening to your story would say, yeah, I could forgive you if you cut me off in traffic or if you take my parking lot or, something like that. But to be, shot and poisoned and trying to, hang you and acid thrown on you, and I mean all of the stuff that you went through, do you have to forgive people?
I believe it. If I didn't forgive, I wouldn't be the person who I am today. I'd be miserable. I'll be sitting in the room and crying and still cleaning those wounds. I believe in forgiveness. Jesus forgave those. He didn't have to go through all the process. He did for me. He set up the example for me that to see how he forgave those people who done this, all those things to him. And he said that if you want to follow me, you have to carry your cross every day. Mm-hmm. And you will be persecuted. All these things happened what he said. But he also forgave them. He showed me that it doesn't matter who they are and what they did, you're gonna forgive them. And for one thing, and this happened, was my father. After that, all his life he tortured me, and then suddenly he wanted to take revenge because they hurt me. He's still my father. It doesn't matter.
Yes. Yeah.
He still felt pain and all this, and he wanted to throw acid on them, man, and do whatever.
Vengeance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to take revenge, and he said, I'm going to throw acid on him, on his sister, and his mother, whatever. I asked him, I said, one thing, Dad, you answer me, and you do whatever you want to. If you did this, my scar will go away? Do all the pain I went through will go away? If it do, go for it. If I feel comfort, go for it. If everything will be like the before, go for it. Answer me, go for it. And he didn't have any answer.
No.
I told him, I said, today I forgive them and I will set myself apart from them. Because what they do, point people, separate people, they hate people. But as a Christian, now, every time those people will think about their life, every time they will see what they've done in their past, they will see what they did to me. I did not do anything back to them. Maybe that's the moment they will save somebody else's life. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the moment they will realize who Jesus is. Maybe that's the moment they will be saved. I mean, it was really hard. It was really difficult. But if I have to forgive, I have a long list. It will be a long, long time. But I asked God, I said, God, please help me. You help me through all this. But help me to be humble and help me to give me a heart forgiveness so I can forgive those people and set the example you had for me and follow you the way you wanted me to go. And every time I prayed, that went on and went on, and I wanted to live a better life, and I put it all in His hand, and I said, God, you be the judge. I can't get justice if you are not with me. You get my justice, and my justice wouldn't be to punish those people. My justice is that they will be standing in the same shoes as I am, to glorify you.
Yes.
That's my justice if they're saved.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's God's will. Though your sins be as scarlet, they'll be white as snow. They'll be red like crimson, and they'll be white as wool. That's what God has in store for us.
Yeah, and all this through is like I always think that, you know, if like I when I was little, my mom used to talk about this Bible verse. It said Joshua 1:9 that it says, like, every time I feel struggle or pain or all those things, that was Joshua 1:9. It said, haven't I command you, be strong and be courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And when I knew God was with me, and when His promise was with me, why should I carry all this grudge? Why should I carry all the trash?
Like you said, it would be a long list if you had to list everybody that you were going to stay mad at.
Now I have a comfort. They are the people who are suffering. Yeah. They will think that we done this, she didn't do anything to us. They will be the miserable, not me.
Yeah.
I don't pray for them to be miserable, but they chose for themselves.
That the testimony and stamina and person of Christ that shows in your life will influence them, and in their hour of need, they'll call upon the name of the Lord.
Yeah, and now they know what Christianity is.
Yes.
Now they know what Christian is, and meaning of Christianity, forgiving and loving, doesn't matter what you do.
Right.
And now they wouldn't be the same. They will think same about Christianity. They have the mentality, maybe I'm just one person, but I know that if I tried, God is with me. I can change them.
Yes.
I can change. I will try my part. Rest of it's God's hand.
Right.
I throw a seed.
Well, then we're going to close down with this. One thing that I want the people here to know is that you are actually you have a ministry where you're taking care of girls who are vulnerable or dangerous or in risk of the same kind of situation over in Pakistan. And I'm going to put a title here on the screen that you see there so people can get in touch with you and, you know, hear more about it. But you're taking girls who are in the situation you were in, who are in danger, and giving them jobs so they can send their siblings to school and get...
Basically what we're doing is training, sewing or knitting or beautician. I want those girls to stand for themselves. I want them to not depend on others or be victim of it. I want them to be independent. And what we're doing, we are trying to preach gospel. First of all, that's what my main point is. Yeah. Fulfill God's purpose. And the second thing is that we are teaching them how to sew and how to do embroidery. And Pakistan, India is so much handwork and stuff.
Right, yes.
And we're teaching them beautician training, and where they can go and work, and if they want to go for schooling or whatever, so they can support themselves or their sibling or their family, like I needed to support my family. So that's what I'm doing, so they can help their family and themselves, and to be the person that God made them, not what world tell them who they are. And those girls who went through what I went through, to show them that if one bad thing happened, that didn't mean their world is end. God have better plan. God not gonna let you sit there and drown. God gonna pick you up every time you fall if you trust in Him, if you put your faith in Him.
Well, that's encouraging. Julie, thank you. Thanks for being
you.
with us. And thanks for sharing your testimony there. Pray for Julie. Do that. I mean that seriously with all my heart. So God bless you, and thank you. Stay in touch. Bye.
Please pray for Renew the Hope as well, too.
Renew the Hope. It's on the screen. Thank you.
जैसे जैसे रात ढले वैसे वैसे बात चली जैसे जैसे रात ढले वैसे वैसे बात चली जैसे जैसे रात ढले वैसे वैसे बात चली और यादों की बंद गली जैसे जैसे रात ढले वैसे वैसे बात चली लेकर थाल सितारों का लेकर थाल सितारों का लेकर थाल सितारों का रात हमारे साथ चली जैसे जैसे रात ढले वैसे वैसे बात चली मैंने फूल खिलाया था मैंने फूल खिलाया था मैंने फूल खिलाया था जाने कैसे शाख चले जैसे जैसे रात ढले वैसे वैसे बात चले। मर मर के दिल काटा था, मर मर के दिल काटा था, मर मर के दिल काटा था। ढलते ढलते रात ढली जैसे जैसे रात ढले